This is Pulse 95.
Pulse 95.
It's the Morning Majlis. It's the Morning Majlis. Talking the stories that are shaping headlines, plus those that make you go,
Good morning, Sharjah and the United Arab Emirates. Welcome on to the Morning Majlis. Shout out to and a very good morning to our dedicated listeners and the friends of the show as well. Shout out to one individual we just talked about off air,
Yes.
Mr. Harkim. He used to
Shout
text
out
us.
to him.
Shout out. He used to text us every day.
Oh,
Where
yeah.
have you been? Where have you been?
To Abid Riza.
Yeah, exactly. Well, friends of the show, text us with your names as well if you're a regular listener. And if you are also have got an opinion about the Google thing that we're talking about. Does Google have too much information? Or do you think the lawsuit against Google is just something that will be in the headlines for years and years and years and we'll forget about it until we have a new search engine called the Majlis search? So you never know what's going to come up. But, it's incredible in terms of what's happening across the globe as well, and here in Sharjah particularly. We are going to be talking about Sharjah's international growth. A company has now expanded into Saudi Arabia. They've had plans earlier, but now it's cemented. They began their operations in Saudi Arabia. BR are functioning well, so we'll be talking about that later on in the program. And then Rania,
Yeah.
your Prime Minister has flown off somewhere.
My Prime Minister.
Yeah.
Your Prime Minister.
Yeah, we have the latest on Iraq. Iraqi Prime Minister Mustafa al-Kadhimi. He went to Berlin. We're going to talk about his latest trip to Berlin as he met with German Chancellor Angela Merkel. This was yesterday, actually. And he went basically to discuss the fight against terrorism, Iraq's reconstruction, and also the COVID-19 situation and its implications. And he really thinks that Berlin can support his government in the reconstruction work and efforts being undertaken, and also he talked about his government's ambitious program, as he says, to modernize and rebuild the Iraqi economy. So we're going to talk about the outcome of that meeting and the consensus that they reached.
Yeah, lots for us to discuss today. We're also going to talk about this. Are you the kind of person, the adventurous traveler, who would agree to booking a travel package, a vacation, to a place that you don't know where you're going to until 2 days before departure? If so, we're going to tell you all about a program offered by a particular airline that might pique your interest. This is pretty interesting one, to say the least. A mystery flight, so to speak. Mystery breaks, it's called.
Yeah, mystery holidays, somewhere that only other people know, and then you'll have to travel to that destination. So if you were to choose any particular country that you would like to travel to, and let us know on the text lines 4215. If someone said, we're giving you a flight ticket, and it could be anywhere, where would you choose and why? Let us know on the text lines 4215 and text us with your name at the end so that we'll remember you and we'll give you a bit of a dedicated shout out and call you, add you to the list of the friends of the show. And we'll continue these discussions.
Where would you go?
Oh.
Where would you go, Ahmed?
I try Hawaii, to be honest. I've never been. I've always wanted to go.
You have to choose something really, really expensive to travel to.
Japan.
Oh, you've been wanting to go
I've
to
been
Japan
wanting to go there
so
for a
long.
while, yes.
Maybe Monaco. Maybe.
Really?
Yes.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I'd like to choose Vanuatu. There's a specific reason why. Well, we'll talk to you about that in greater detail. Stay tuned to Pulse 95. We'll be right back here on the Morning Majlis.
This is Pulse 95.
Pulse 95.
It's the Morning Majlis. It's the Morning Majlis.
Sharjah Police has launched a new campaign, and the campaign represented by the Traffic and Licensing Services Department. They've launched a campaign called Renew Your Vehicle for 1 month, targeting the car owners who haven't registered or renewed their car's registration. Now, this is part of the campaign of Sharjah Police's strategy, which is derived from the Ministry of Interior strategy, aiming to make roads safer and achieve traffic safety to all road users. Now, this is amazing, because a lot of people get scared of paying for inspections because they think the car's not, they might have a fault. So when they do pay for the inspection, then there's a fault detected, so they lose out on the money being for the car inspection, and then they lose out money on getting new tires, which they need to, and then it comes into this spiral of cost analysis. But now, to help those concerns, those tensions, Sharjah Police has now launched a service which is going to be very affordable.
Yes, it's called, it's a new campaign. It's entitled Renew Your Vehicle. It's going to be, as you said, Abdul Karim, for 1 month, targeting the car owners who haven't renewed their car's registration. And according to the Director of Traffic Awareness and Relations Section at Sharjah Police, Lieutenant Colonel Abdul Rahman Khatar, he said that the campaign is part of the Sharjah Police strategy, which is derived from the Ministry of Interior's strategy aiming to make roads safer and achieve traffic safety to all road users. And yes, he said that the campaign offers a free inspection to cars with expired registrations to encourage car owners to renew the registration of their cars and enhance the safety aspects of those cars.
Yeah, and that's not all as well, because throughout the campaign, car owners will receive awareness information with regards to car and road safety, according to the Lieutenant Colonel, who stressed that car registration renewals ensure the car's validity and safety, and noted that 60 of car rollover accidents can be attributed to the use of overused tires. He also reminded the public that UAE traffic law stipulates that a person who's not driving with a registration or insurance will be fined 500 dirhams, slapped with 4 black points, and have their car impounded for 7 days. So take advantage of this.
Yeah, take advantage of this. And look, having insurance is so important, and making sure the car is renewed, because anything can happen at any time. And yes, if someone else hits you, yes, you can argue the point that their third-party insurance or whatever insurance the other faulty party would have would cover your car. But if your car is not renewed, there's a separate fine. And that is something that you've got to be very mindful of. And sometimes insurance companies have their own clauses to say, and those hidden lines that say, hang on, we can't fix your car because you are not renewed. So,
and we talked about registering with the Ministry of Interior.
Yeah.
And it's a must to have it on your phone, right? We talked about that once.
Yes. So back in the days, I think at the moment as well, they're not issuing physical cards.
Exactly.
So once your card is renewed, make sure that you download the Ministry of Interior app, and that's where you'll get the digital card, the e-card.
Yeah.
And that's a valid app to use if you don't want to carry your physical card whenever there's an incident. And the Rafid team and Sharjah Police will usually use and authenticate the Ministry of Interior app's digital card as a valid license, and a vehicle license as well. So very important to be doing that and making sure that you look after your cars, because you're using the roads a lot, and there's a lot of other people. So instead of putting others in danger and yourself, make sure that your cars are always safe and healthy. Well, stay tuned to Pulse 95. We'll be right back after the news headlines, and we'll continue the discussions and shift our focus globally. Stay tuned to Pulse 95.
Pulse 95. Between local lines. Notes from the Emirate.
Yes, notes from Sharjah. Sharjah Research Technology and Innovation Park, which is the UAE's premier research and innovation hub, is in collaboration with Sharjah's Department of Government Relations in developing a pilot program to enable the accelerated AI readiness of all the government entities here in Sharjah. Now, this initiative involves at least 15 Sharjah-based government entities, as SRTI Park has partnered with AI Directions in developing the AI Readiness Pilot Program. Now, a statement also from the executive chairman of the Department of Government Relations and chairman of the Higher Committee for Digital Transformation of Sharjah, His Excellency Sheikh Fahim Al-Qasmi, saying the ambitious and strategic future-focused approach of accelerating digital transformation efforts across Sharjah's entities is in line with the vision and directives of His Highness Sheikh Dr. Sultan bin Mohammed Al-Qasmi, Supreme Council member and the ruler of Sharjah, in recognizing the integral role of advanced sciences and knowledge in the inclusive development process.
That's right. And His Excellency said, quote, these powerful, cost-effective tools transform organizations, stimulate innovation, redefine traditional industry sectors, and impact the way we live and work. He also lauded the efforts of the Sharjah Research Technology and Innovation Park and the UAE-based AI Directions in supporting Sharjah's rapid digital transformation by assisting and motivating companies to harness AI and modern tech in managing their operations and improving the way people, businesses, and governments interact. And a survey carried out by SRTI Park and AI Directions was sent to 15 government entities to offer clear direction on the digital strategy that is ideal for each organization. It will also enable them to identify challenges, recognize opportunities, and provide solutions to bolster their performances and services. So it's a pretty accelerated digital transformation here in the Emirate of Sharjah.
Yeah, it's called Digital Sharjah, and it's incredible in terms of how 15 government entities are going to be joining this pilot program, as we're talking about how the whole holistic approach and how the entities are now going to be having this very important digital infrastructure to offer better services to its public and the citizens at large as well. Digital transformation is the application of digital technology in all aspects of an organization. The transformation will result in innovation and creativity of services rather than simply enhancing and supporting traditional methods. Hussein Al-Mahmoudi, who is the CEO of SRTI Park, said that the AI readiness program measures the degree of transformation in an organization, including its business processes and services, technology the organization uses, digital culture of the organization, and the strategic posture for digital transformation. Every government entity must understand their data and elevate to elevate the degree of data governance in their organization, understanding how data is used in helping each entity in improving the business processes and ensure a more efficient delivery of these services. Now, I remember the days of when GITEX happened 2 years ago, and I saw the map of the digital Sharjah. It's amazing to see how far we've come now, of how well it's going to be managed in terms of looking at from the government's point of view of where the data they'll generate in terms of where they need the services to be enhanced, where they need to focus a little bit more, where's the greater demand of electricity use. So just having this data and having this information provided to you is so important in strategizing and looking ahead to the future. So all the very best to the team at the Higher Committee of Digital Transformation of the Emirate of Sharjah.
Absolutely, and it's definitely a great undertaking for Sharjah to be doing this in such an accelerated pace. But nobody is better qualified than those in charge of handling this as well, in terms of changing the way we look at data, the way we gather and analyze data as well, and changing organizations from the ground up to get people in the mindset of putting it all together and creating a larger whole that is set to serve the people of Sharjah and the government in a smooth, efficient way. So we'll continue reporting on these developments. Up next, we've got more stories coming up to discuss the visit of the Iraqi Prime Minister in Germany. What did they discuss? What is the significance of this? Stay tuned to find out more.
This is Pulse 95.
Pulse 95.
It's the Morning Majlis. It's the Morning Majlis.
Hello, good morning, and welcome back onto the Morning Majlis. We're going to be talking a little bit more about the famous iPhone 12. Now, where by all means we know Future Talk to get a proper tech review and to get their proper interest levels, then you got to tune into the 2 p.m. show at every day on Pulse 95, Future Talk. But I got a chance to hold on to the iPhone yesterday. So what they've done is they've launched the iPhone 12 and iPhone 12 Pro.
Yeah.
So the Max isn't out there yet. At first glance, it looked cool. And then I'm no iPhone expert though, so a lot of people who messaged me saying, "Oh, it looks like the iPhone 5." It might be because of the structure. But one thing that's different this year is both the iPhone 12 and the iPhone 12 Pro have the same screen, 6.1 inches. So that's similar because the iPhone 11 and iPhone 11 Pro have something different. And the edges around it are very impressive. Stainless steel for the iPhone 12 Pro and aluminium for iPhone 12. And of course, speed-wise and cost-wise, iPhone 12 Pro is going to start off with 4,200 dirhams for its 128 GB. And the iPhone 12 is starting around 3,800 of a figure. But a phone that everyone's really looking forward to it, and it felt it was a good. It was the dropping aspect of it. I'm always scared of it, so it felt very good, and it's got a good grip. And one thing is that apparently now they've made the phones 4 times stronger than before.
Yeah, it's a pretty sturdy build as well. I'm really interested in the fact that the edges of it are flat. It doesn't have that curved look in previous editions. But did you get to test the camera?
Yes, I did. Very good in low light. Very good in low light. I've got to tell you that, and it's impressive because for me the most important thing is getting it for its camera, really. But this was very impressive, and I was very happy about it. And it looks like that people will be gearing up to get their hands on this device. It is available for purchase on the you can reserve to pick it up on the Apple Store. We do know is that it's expected to be this Friday. No details have been announced for the public opening because usually you expect long queues. But on Amazon Prime and these on e-stores, we're expecting them to be available by November the 1st.
So, AK, did you see all the iPhone 12s? Did you try them all? Did you see them all? Because there's the iPhone 12, iPhone 12 mini, i12.
Yeah,
iPhone.
the mini and these are not released yet. So it's only,
they're not?
No, they're not
Okay.
released yet. iPhone 12 and iPhone 12 Pro have been.
Okay.
Both are looking very similar. Both have the similar
They
size.
say they're basically the same.
Basically the same because the size is the same.
Yeah.
The screen size. But the iPhone 12 Pro obviously has, the speed-wise, the
features.
camera-wise, it's pretty impressive.
Right.
But I'd be quite disappointed if I was the owner of an iPhone 11 Pro, to be honest.
Why?
Because I spent a lot of money last year, but now there's a big upgrade, 5G already. So that's why I didn't buy it, iPhone 11. I was quite keen on getting it.
Yeah.
But I'm still a proud Android user. But the other thing is, you can use your MacBook charger because it needs a Type-C adapter, and obviously it uses the lightning cable to get it to be inserted into your smartphone or iPhone to charge it. It comes with the cable, but the end recipient is not going to be the lightning cable so that you can use the old iPhone chargers. You have to use a new iPhone charger which has a Type-C, USB Type-C receiver. So you could potentially use the same chargers of your MacBook, the new MacBooks, and that could be it.
What are the colors they're coming in? Do you know? Because I know there's blue.
There's the Pacific blue,
Yeah.
there's gold, graphite, and silver.
Nice.
So lots of wonderful colors to choose. Pacific blue is a new one.
It's a new one. Yeah.
It's really nice, to be honest. Very, very nice. But yeah, our review is here for you.
The verdict is in.
The verdict is in. For a good purchase, maybe not, maybe yes.
Yeah.
You decide. We don't tell you.
It's several like small updates that they've put together, and an interesting package if you haven't been buying the latest one and you're looking at something new, like for instance buying your first iPhone in many years. The battery life is slightly worse than the iPhone 11, but it comes bundled with 5G, which is huge. A number of new features as well. And the big thing about this phone is the camera, they say. It's got an exceptional camera, one of the best on a smartphone. So sleek, elegant design, an upgraded display, and yet another iPhone on the market. Let us know by texting at 4215 if this piques your interest, if the iPhone 12 is worth the upgrade or not.
Yeah, you never know. Well, let us know on the text lines 4215 for sure. We'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions. Up next, we have the world of business news, and we shall return right after that, continuing the discussions here on the Morning Majlis.
This is Pulse 95.
Pulse 95.
It's the Morning Majlis.
It's the Morning Majlis.
Hello, welcome back onto the Morning Majlis, and we're talking about coronavirus testing methods and techniques. The UAE has conducted almost 12 million tests of COVID-19. While a number of different methods have been introduced to detect infection by the SARS-CoV-2, the virus responsible for COVID-19, the PCR test via the nasal swab, has become the golden standard, let's just say. But that's not all. There are other types of tests. There's a saliva test, there's the antibody test, there's the DPI test. So we're going to talk about each one a little bit more thoroughly. We're going to talk about how the test is done and what it really is detecting, how much it costs, and its accuracy. So let's start with the nasal swab.
Let's start with the nasal swab, and this is the polymerized chain reaction PCR test. That's the dominant way that global healthcare systems have been testing citizens and residents for COVID-19. We also have antibody testing, and each testing method has its caveats, and researchers are still looking into ways to effectively screen for COVID-19. So we're going to look into the science behind it. Starting with the PCR test, the nasal swab is taken from the back of your nasal cavity, and chemicals and specialized gear are then used to extract genetic material from this swab. And this is able to detect the genetic material for the novel COVID-19, SARS-CoV-2. Typically costs around 180 dirhams around the United Arab Emirates, but is free in certain locations in the Northern Emirates and for certain groups in Abu Dhabi and various Emirates as well. And they say this mode is, quote, highly accurate.
Yeah, and the other one that everyone gets nowadays, if you go to the drive-through testing centers, you'll see a huge queue for the DPI test. Now, these are the slightly cheaper ones, 50 dirhams over here in the United Arab Emirates, and at this drive-through screening centers. It's like similar to a blood sugar test. They use the finger prick and the blood sample inserted into a special device, and laser light is shown onto it. Infected blood cells produce a diffuse pattern. It detects inflammation in cells by detecting signature patterns in target cells. The most important thing here is that the infection does not confirm. It does not confirm that the infection is indeed COVID-19. It tells you there might be an infection in you. So this is one of the reasons why people still prefer the PCR test.
And to that point, with PCR tests, they are excellent at confirming the presence of the COVID-19 infection. I think a caveat to the PCR test to add to what you said is with the PCR test, you can't always use it to give yourself an all clear, because there's a false negative rate of 30%. And it's a very labor-intensive process as well, the PCR testing, with several stages, and errors can occur between sampling and analysis. So the fact that you test negative with a PCR test, it could be a false negative, very likely 30%. But when you test positive, it's pretty much almost certainly a COVID-19 infection.
Yeah, certainly. There's also the saliva swabs. Developers are saying that it will be as accurate as the PCR, as it relies on the same kind of the lab procedures, and it also detects the genetic material of the novel coronavirus. Now, it's not available yet in the UAE, but a study by the Mohammed bin Rashid University of Health Sciences in the neighboring emirate collected and analyzed saliva and nasal swabs from 401 adults who had visited a health center for a COVID-19 test. And the results published in the Infection and Drug Resistance Journal showed that saliva can be used for viral detection with 70% sensitivity and 95% specificity, making it just as effective as the nasal swab. And I was actually a senior manager at the scientific office of Abu Dhabi's leading COVID-19 testing laboratory, Pure Health, it's called. Mr. Sajjad, he announced in September that the company has been working with the World Health Organization on the new generation of saliva tests. And they're just checking the quality and proficiency of testing centers as well. So maybe there's a chance that we will be seeing the new saliva swabs to be rolled out in the UAE to test for the coronavirus soon, hopefully.
Yeah, that's the hope right there. And it's always interesting to look into how these tests work and the science behind it as well. But yes, PCR test continues to be the dominant fashion of administering tests here in the country. And we urge anybody who's been in contact with somebody who has COVID-19 or who exhibits any of the symptoms to get themselves tested. I mean, all of us here in the studio have been tested multiple times. It is our duty and obligation, and it's how we keep ourselves safe and keep our society safe as well.
Yep, of course, and understanding the importance of these tests and social distancing, because asymptomatic cases, according to a research by a recent medical journal published in September 2020, 1 in 4 cases are asymptomatic. That means they show no symptoms at all.
Yeah.
Don't even know what's going on. I was one of them, sadly, and had no fever, had no cough, had no sneezing. Couple of sneezes one of the days, but I had one drawback, and that was eating loads. Maybe piled on 4 kilos, 5 kilos. You never know. But that's what it is, and home isolation as well. And as Rani was reminded us as well, but I've done a vlog on my 14 days of isolation, so you can search myself on Instagram or on YouTube as well, and that's where you can find that vlog about how I spent those 14 days. One film I recommend, and I didn't get a chance to watch it, was Bohemian Rhapsody. And I got a chance to watch it during my quarantine. Incredible. Exceptional performance. That's it. That's what I'm going to say. I recommend it. Criminal UK and Bohemian Rhapsody. Those are my top recommendations. But anyways, stay tuned to Pulse 95. Up next, we'll be talking about the world of sports because the Champions League returned. But in Bundesliga, we had a couple of new COVID-19 infections. Something's going on over there. What's happening? Well, stay tuned to Pulse 95.
If you liked this episode of the Morning Majlis, drop a like and subscribe.
95.
Be sure to follow us on Instagram for all our daily updates and top stories.